how much do I say? What can I get away with saying without getting in trouble? You hear a lot of bad press about reptilians, right? And you hear a lot of bad press about other groups. Like a lot of people saying bad things about Nordics, for example. Well, there's good natural Nordics and synthetic Nordics. Yeah. And within the natural Nordic, there's ones that are more benevolent than others. In the synthetic, there's ones that are more benevolent than others. So we've got to be careful not to generalize too much. But the point I'm making here is there's, in evolution, as far as evolution goes, the paramount incarnational structures, the insectoids were the first ones, exoskeletal, because of the environment and the ecosystem of the galaxy at the time. Now, when it started to soften, and it wasn't so harsh, it was a flip from exoskeletal to endoskeletal, and the first incarnational avatars were Draco, because they still had that hard exo skin, of scaly sort of skin. And then it continued to soften over evolution. Over time, became the reptilians, branched out of the Dracos, and then out of the reptilians, and now the Dracos reptilians was one branch, and the other one was the raptors. So when you look at birds, when you look at a hawk or an eagle, you're looking at a Draco. That's further down the evolutionary path. But they're all Draco. Yeah? Raptors, right? So, and then, but what happened was the other branch, the reptilian branch that came off the Dracos in evolution, started introducing more of the mammalian side of things. And once the mammalian side of things got introduced to the raptors, that's when the feathers started coming into play in evolution. So this is a long history, but the point I'm trying to make here is you go back to the first incarnational structures, and they were exoskeletal. So we're talking about insectoids. They're the most ancient paramount incarnational structures in our galactic realm, actually in the entire cosmos, to be honest. So when you go track back the imperial structure that China and other countries have now aligned themselves with, they're involved in that, and it's really awful and really unpleasant. Now, when I look at other organizations, they have other traits that I'm not comfortable with. You can look at the Federation and going back to the Pleiades and then going back to Lyra and then the whole origins of the Anunnaki, where do they come from, Nibiru, all this. So you've got all different groups that we're dealing with here. And the real point here is with the China issue is these insectoids, that while there's benevolent insectoids, the ones they're aligned with don't like us. And they want to control and they want to dominate us and use us as a resource, way worse than other groups do. So my recommendation is that we have to be really, really careful of what China's doing with these drones, because it is reconnaissance for planning strikes, unfortunately. And I just don't want to see the conflict between, the federations out there, the galactic groups out there, political bodies, bringing the conflict here. As above, so below. I really hope it doesn't come to that. And I'm entrusting that the allegiance, the alliance that Trump has with the Galactic Federation of Worlds is going to be that little bit of extra oomph to say, hey guys, you might want to rethink what you want to do, because I can tell you now, if the 3 admirals have to come in and step in, they're gonna really bring this to an end very quickly because of their capabilities. But they know everything. They know everything. They know exactly what everybody's doing. There is not even a god that can come here and they won't know what they're doing, because of who and what they have become, the technology that they're using, and because they're in conscious relationship with galactic creational intelligence itself. So anything that exists in the galactic realm, they see it. Doesn't matter how you try to hide yourself, you're going to be seen. Okay,
so you would agree then that some of the mystery drones that are being seen near military bases, near airports and all of that, do belong to China. Now, some have said, Stephen Greer has said that these are actually drones that are owned by the deep state, but they are produced in China and they were launched from a Chinese submarine. So, yeah, you want to...
I don't know about that for a fact, that detail. However, I can't rule that out because as you were talking about it, I did not feel, it's like this could be a real possibility.
Okay. All right. So this Cybertruck explosion in front of Nevada and the guy in front of the Trump Tower in Nevada, in Las Vegas. Now, was this a kind of like part of a psyop designed to make people aware that the Chinese are involved in the whole drone phenomenon, or was this kind of like an attempt by white hats to reveal what's really going on?
Whenever you bring China into the equation and Russia into the equation, there's a group that's trying to create global conflict. And the reason they want to create global conflict, and I've been saying this for years, is that it's a religious ideology. They want to create Armageddon on the planet, which will then usher in the return of their God. That's the ideology of these people. So that's what they're trying to create. They're trying to create Armageddon on the planet. And a lot of people saying, I'm getting out of here, to have fun with it. But I'm staying to work through this because I've got commitments here to this planetary being and to our humanity as a whole. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying, and I'm here to do some pretty serious stuff, and I will continue on with that.
Right. So you've described a kind of pretty complex situation going on with 4 levels of drones up there that are being seen. But what's happening is that the US military and other militaries around the world are pretty much standing down. They're not shooting at the drones. Is that because the white hats are kind of aware of this deep state agenda to like confuse, conflate, and even start a war?
Oh, it's beautiful, really, when you look at the way the white hats are operating. And it's a term that a lot of people don't like anymore. Okay, yin and yang, the white hats, the dark hats. I mean, it's the easiest label to use right now. So, these guys are operating in a way where they get the message from our star families and genuine organizations, and the good guys out in the cosmos, like, we're going to show ourselves. Okay. So they tell the whole military to stand down because they're in conjunction. I mean, Donald Trump was groomed by Nixon and co. in that space for decades. He's been groomed for this job, for this position for decades, to be the go-between, to be the front man for the Federation in our world, and for America to become the hub of the dispersion of all the technologies. That's why they want to bring manufacturing back, bunker down, build the borders, because they're the ones that are going to be dispersing the technology to the rest of the planet. That's the game plan with the Federation and Trump to become world president, if that's a thing that will ever happen. But that's his wet dream. So it's kind of like now we're dealing with. Just give me a moment, Michael, because this is big energy. Because I'm revealing a lot, so I hope you can understand. There's energies that don't like what I'm doing. Yeah, so we're at a point now where the white hats are just like, Trump's like, if they're coming out of a garage and they go into a garage, we can see them. So basically, the deep state brought its toys out to play. They got to sit back and just watch it all. Watch where they're coming from, watch where they're going to, analyze the technologies that they have. So the deep state couldn't help themselves. And that couldn't help themselves is their downfall. It's the end, because the white hats just got to observe them in action, to observe their technologies. And, you got to understand in the background too, there's a lot of integration going on now between the dark and white hats, because a lot of the dark hats are now coming over to the white hats. There's a big shift happening. But now they know where all their installations are. They know exactly the level of technology they've got. And it's game over.